In today's episode, Jason Lange and I are diving into the most important yet most neglected aspect of being a dad. As a dad, we know that you'll move heaven and earth for your kids, guys. There's no question. You love them, you want the best for them, and you would drop everything to be a great dad. However, that might be exactly what's keeping you from being the best dad you can be. What if being the best dad you can be means not dropping important things like your personal care routine or going to the gym or eating right or spending time with the guys even? Today, Jason shares how these things help make you the dad you want to be. Check out this amazing dad story Jason shares, and then we're going to jump to our sponsor and check in with them and dive fully into why you need to take care of yourself as a dad. Jason, we all have those dad stories that just put a smile on our face no matter what or where. What's your favorite dad story?
Yeah, I think I'll go with one of my favorite stories here. And that is honestly just, maybe it's not even a specific moment, but it's seeing my two children relate. So my wife and I had quite a journey to have our second kid, fertility challenges. But I always had this deep sense of like, I feel like it's two. I feel like it's two, right? From the moment she and I met, I had this like visualization of holding two kids' hands, one kid in each hand. And my daughter was almost 5 when my son was born last year. And he was born at home overnight, like basically at midnight. And so she was asleep. She had been asleep through the whole thing. And so I had to go in and wake her up the next morning. My daughter's deaf, and so she can't hear during the nights because she has devices that help her hear. So, which was kind of a blessing for the birth because my wife was, screaming and so much noise, and my daughter just slept through the night. But I remember coming into her room and waking her up at probably like 7 a.m. and just turning to her and being like, "He came, Cedar's here. He was born last night. You have a baby brother now." And she just looked at me, and she burst into tears, just like total heartbreak in a sense, because she, even at her young age, knew things were never going to be the same, like in the family system and the attention she got from mom and dad. And I was like, oh my God, oh no, this is how it's starting. Like, so there's a little bit of a panic of like, oh, what's this going to be like? And then she didn't really want to see my wife for like the first couple of days. My wife was kind of just sequestered in the bedroom, and she was feeling very shy about it. But then like 3 days in, she started to thaw, and she crawled into bed next to my wife as she was holding our beautiful son, infant. And she like touched him. And then it was just game over. And now like there's quite an age gap, but she just adores this little boy, and they're developing this incredible relationship. And just every time I see them, I'm like, oh my God, everything it took us to get here was so worth it, because they just have this love for each other that I'm seeing that's independent of kind of like my wife and I. And something about that is just, anyway, I can feel the wellspring of like, fuck, it was all worth it. And seeing kids relate in love like that, and know that, okay, whatever happens to us, they're going to have each other right now. I just love telling that story of I'll never forget how she just burst into tears in that way, that a 5-year-old just was totally overwhelmed with, okay, something is different now, and it's always going to be different. But then it really ended up in a place of love.
Mike Lindell and My Pillow employees want to thank my listeners for all of your continued support. Mike has a passion to help everyone get the best sleep of their life. He didn't stop just by creating the best pillow, but he also created the best bed sheets ever. Mike is offering this incredible deal on his Percal bed sheets. You can get a set for as low as $24.98. We have them right here in the house as well. The MyPillow Percal sheets are breathable and have a cool, crisp feel. They're great, especially for the warm weather. And they have deep pockets fit over any mattress. They look and feel great, which means an even better night's sleep for me, which is crucial with my busy schedule. Also, for a limited time, when you order over $100, you'll receive $100 in free digital gifts. So go to mypillow.com and use promo code TFM to receive the MyPillow Percale sheets for as low as $24.98. Order now. When they're gone, guys. Or call 1-800-796-9775 and use promo code TFM. Welcome to the Dad Hat Shenanigans Podcast, the unfiltered truth about being a dad. Real dads, real stories, unfiltered, candid conversations on fatherhood. I'm your host, Brent Dallin, and today my special guest is Jason Lange. Jason, welcome to the show, man.
So pumped to be here with a fellow dad.
Now, Jason, you already we've met before. For people who don't know, Jason's been a guest on now the Driven to Thrive broadcast. You'll find it under the Fallible Man podcast as well, my other show, and we had great conversations there. And Jason, that story you told at the beginning was just heart-wrenching, man. Like I could feel the fatherhood pride. Like I'm just sitting there watching you smile, and I'm like, I'm feeling it too. It's like, oh my gosh, that's such an amazing moment to just, oh yeah, bro. I can't even. And congratulations on the birth of your son. I know that was a lot.
Thank you.
And we'll dive into that farther. So you have a boy and a girl, and they're 5, and he is how old now? A couple months?
He's 7 months. Yeah.
Man. And she's getting close to 6.
Yeah, she's more on the 5.5 range. She'll be 6 in December.
That matters to kids. My 10-year-old is turning 11 in July. And so she's very quick, like, I'm almost 11.
Right? Yeah, totally does.
That's important. They are. It's funny, as we get older, we're like, yeah, whatever. It's another year.
Yeah, right. It's
that young age though. They're like, no, I'm at 10.75 at this point. You know.
Yeah. There's like a pride in it when you're young of the agency you're getting, and then you become an adult, and it's like, I don't want to know how old I am. Totally changes.
I'm not so worried about knowing how old I am. I just don't care anymore. It's like I had all misconceptions, right, growing up about aging. Like, oh my God, you're 40, you're almost dead, right? I had all these misconceptions about aging, and now at 45, I'm like, my life's just getting started. I've been wrong about all this all along. So now I'm just like, yeah, it's another day. But
that's right. We just keep on rolling.
So now you are relocated. You were a California guy, and now you're in Colorado. Beautiful area. How's life looking these days?
Life's great. Yeah, both kids are thriving, and it's the first time I've been slotted in life, knowing we're really specific about where we moved. We're like literally a 4-minute walk from the elementary school, 10-minute walk from middle school. I'd say 15 to 20-minute walk from the high school. So it's just really interesting. Okay. My whole life's going to be in this radius for the next 20 years or so, which has just changed what it feels like for me to be so anchored in somewhere, and seeing my kids just relax into this life and world and get integrated, and doing all the activities have started for my 5-year-old. And it's just like, okay, it's going to go fast. Like you were saying, I can feel how, oh yeah, she's starting activities. He'll be getting into some activities in a couple of years, and they'll be out of the house before I know it. So there's a preciousness to it of, it always stuck with me, that platitude I heard that, the days are long and the years are short. And it's like, feels so true. It's like sometimes just getting through a day feels epic. But then it's like, wow, I was just mourning the other day. There, being part of a parent is all these phases of letting go. And it's like, wow, my son is not an infant, a newborn anymore. Like that energy of kind of just the bottles and the breastfeeding and the bouncing and the shushing, and like, it's done. Like, he's this little autonomous guy who just wants to get his hands on everything and lets us know when he's happy and sad. And he's developing agency. And I was like, wow, yeah. Like, I used to have to bounce him on this medicine ball to help him fall asleep. And it's just one of those, those many things I'm always tracking of, oh, I don't even know when the last time was. There was a time like felt like I was doing this 3 times a day for naps and for bedtime, but at some point there was a last one, and it already happened. And yeah, just that stuff catches me all the time.
It's crazy. And it's awesome that you stop and appreciate that, because I think a lot of us as dads are so busy feeling overwhelmed, trying to keep up, trying to, "Oh, God, am I making enough money? Am I," all these fears and worries we have, that sometimes we miss the fact that it's like, I saw one of those, a meme the other day, and it's like, you never know when the last time you're going to go out, that your kid's going to go out to play, right? Just like go play carefully. And it's like
Yeah,
talking about being present. And it's like, that there's a deep legitimacy to that, because those transactions happen so fast. It's like, I think a lot of dads miss those things because you're so busy with everything you're afraid that you're not going to do as a dad,
yeah,
or so many responsibilities that sometimes you miss. It's like, wow, that's the last moment I'm going to bounce my kid to sleep. They don't need that from me anymore, right? All those moments happen.
yeah. So fast, and I think it's definitely something I'm noticing of maybe the benefit of having a second, and knowing that for our family this is our last, is it's much easier to appreciate some of these moments, and definitely having more of an experience of being able to drop into that in the moment and realize, oh, this is a really good moment.
Mm-hmm.
This is a moment, I'm happy to be here, even if it's chaos or a mess, right? It's just like it's never going to be like this again. And that kind of gratitude feels so good this time, where the first time there was a lot more fear for me because I'd never been a parent before. We were dealing with my daughter's diagnosis. There was a lot more uncertainty in the air. And did the best I could, but there is something very sweet about this time, knowing like, okay, yeah, the time really is short.
You never know what those moments are really going to get you. Everybody told me, it's like, just wait till they go to school, dude. Let him go to school the first time. I was like, we got to that, and I was like, yeah, okay. Taking my daughter to kindergarten for the first time was like, yeah, yeah, a little rough, but you know what got me? The first time my daughter went to youth group. My
Mm-hmm.
teen, she started going to youth group when she was 11 or 12. But the first time I dropped her off at youth group at church, and I dropped her off, right? It wasn't going to school. School's part of life, but it's like, oh no, this is the beginning of a pipeline I remember well as a former youth minister. And so, like, dropping her at youth group the first time was like, oh, you know, my heart's beating. I'm like, I don't know if I could do this, honey. My wife's like, it's okay, dude.
Yeah,
You just never know.
yeah, yeah. I've had a few of those moments of, yeah, I guess in a way for me it's like seeing my daughter play and like run off, and just the feeling, that ever gradual process of separation.
Hmm.
It's like we're never as close as when they're a newborn, and it's just like you're so close and you're with them all day, and then just step by step, more and more distance kind of comes over time. I saw you've probably seen the crazy stat where they're like, it's on average something like 90% of the time you'll spend with your kids in your life is before they're 18.
Hmm.
And it's just like, whoa. And then I think back to my life and my relationship with my parents, and I'm like, wow, yeah, kind of like, I see them as much in 3 years now as, I did in a month when I was living at home.
Oh yeah, no, it's crazy, and I think it's even. I think it dials down, that stat dials down even farther, and it's already, you've spent the majority of the time you're going to by their time they're 10 or 11 or something,
Yeah. Wow. So
which
yeah, it's true. Probably for the friend group and the peers and yeah.
right. It was rough the first time she went to play, and she didn't like linger to look back to make sure you were still close,
Totally.
right? So Jason, tell us about your dad hat.
Yeah. 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 So this hat is, comes from an organization called Integration Nation, which I'm a men's coach and I lead men's groups for guys. And this is an organization that does that. And the man who founded it, I'm in a men's group with. And he's probably, I don't know, maybe 30 years my senior. And I had my first daughter about a year after getting into a group with him. And when she was born, we didn't know, but she was born deaf and COVID hit. And it was just like this swirl of intensity and uncertainty for me in my life. And his name's Robert, um, was such a source of solace for me, just in having somewhere to come. And his kids were kind of grown up, and he was on the other side. And it was one of those things of just having someone to come to who got it, even though my circumstances were unique, but got the challenges of what it feels like when your child has a health crisis, or what it feels like when there's uncertainty in the air, culturally or politically, or just when they won't sleep, like whatever that might be. And it was such a game changer for me to not dad alone, quite frankly, to try to have to figure it out alone, and have him and guys I met through him as a resource for just where do I go when I'm overwhelmed as a dad, right? I think as dads, like you said, we spend so much time holding everyone else, our kids, sometimes our wives, but often we don't have a space to go to of like, well, hey, where do I go when my tank's empty or I'm freaking out? And so this kind of work that I'm involved in, and this hat really represents, we need that too as men. And the more resourced, I've become in my life, which often comes from connection with other men, the easier it is for me to show up and be totally present in my family with my kids, and actually have, life does get so busy. And one of the things I realized was, wow, okay, my responsibility is to take care of myself. So in the moments I do have with my children and my wife, I have the energy to actually be there, like to play, or to not be stressed out about work, or to be so tired, or whatever that might be. And that's been a game changer in terms of other men. And like this hat really represents for me, like, it's my job to show up with enough energy in the tank to be present for my family, and they can't do that for me. They can support me with some things around that, but sometimes that means actually, I need to take time off, including from the family, so I can get recharged, so I can be present with them and not be kind of half present, as I think I maybe struggled a little bit more with early in my parenting.
Well, and that segues us nicely, because I think that's the conversation we're having today, right? We're talking about how men need to connect and recharge, and the benefit of having a tight circle of men, whether you call it a men's group or whether you call it your group of buddies, whatever you guys need to call
Yeah,
it, to not feel. I know some of us are a little Neolithic. We
sure.
like to grunt and pretend we like to go things alone, right? We don't need other people. Yeah, whatever. So you can call it your group of friends, or you can call it a men's group, but we need other men in our lives to show up at our best selves, including for our family, right? And I think that's the direction we're going today.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jason, let's dive into that. You said something very interesting uh, right there at the beginning. That was, you don't have to dad alone. And you said several things that I want to jump into, but you said you don't have to dad alone. And I think that's a
Yeah,
conception we have as fathers, is we're going through this alone.
yeah, yeah. So many men. I mean, this is just a cultural thing beyond dads and just men. We're taught to be a man is to be tough and to be invulnerable and not need help, and asking for help, is weak. It's often the message a lot of us get. But it puts a lot of stress and a lot of burden on us, particularly as fathers, I would say. And I work with a lot of guys, and it's one of those things that can become quite a trap, where guys have such devotion to their family that, particularly in terms of their intimate relationship, everything that they were doing in their life to make them an attractive, vibrant, alive, vital man, they start to let go of the second relationship and kids happen, because it's like, oh no, I gotta their stuff first, their stuff first, their stuff first. And then, as fathers, it's very easy to become just exhausted, burdened, constantly putting everyone else forward, and inside, we're kind of suffering. And one of my teachers once phrased this to me is, the sweet spot of that male community, whether it's a group or buddies or whatever that might be, that we all need, particularly as fathers, is to get into spaces of no demand. What I mean by that is, nobody needs anything from us. So it's a huge realization I had maybe 6 months ago, and I'm still working towards it, so I haven't sorted it out yet. But in my mind, I was like, oh, I take time off work, because I was doing this thing where I was taking half a Friday off. I'd pick my daughter at half a day school at that time. On Fridays, I'd pick her up and I'd take her on adventures. My wife could get some space before our other son. And then I basically, other than maybe 2 work calls very early on Saturdays, take Saturdays off. So in my mind, I was taking time off. But then I was actually in a group and talking about how Friday was, and some guys reflected to me that's like, not that I don't love my family, but being with my family is not actually time off, because I'm still showing up as the role of a husband and a father. My kids constantly need things from me. My wife needs things from me. And so my tank was getting more and more empty, even though I had told myself I wasn't working. And so it's something I'm working on integrating with my wife's health, is to basically take Thursdays off, where I just get 8 or 9 hours to do my own thing. I'm not working. I'm not with her. I'm not with the kids. And I get that a lot in retreats I do with men and time I spend with them. But it's always there that I get the most quite honestly, recharged. It's like my battery goes, zoop, I get full. And then this thing happens where when my tank is full in that sense, when I've been in a space of no demand, meaning I'm particularly spending time with other people who don't need anything from me, right? This is the beauty of being in a male group when we get it right, is I'll start to get restored. And when I get restored to a certain part, it's like I suddenly can't wait to go see my family. Like, I'm so excited to get back home and see my wife and spend time with my kids. Rather than, if my tank's too low, sometimes it feels like a burden. It's like, okay, how am I going to get through the next 3 hours of watching them both? What am I going to do? How am I going to spin this plate? And da da da. So that male community, just on that connection thing alone, when we're in a space where the other men don't need anything from us, it's deeply restoring to most men and fathers, whether it's, going out fishing, going on a hunting trip, sometimes even just going to watch a game, right? It's just like, nobody needs anything from me right now. We need to make that time for ourselves. At least I've discovered, and as I've supported other men in finding that, it creates a level of aliveness and vitality that, I've worked with hundreds of men at this point. And one of the hard things a lot of guys realize is, actually, one of the greatest gifts I can give to my children is them seeing a happy and alive father. And if we're not taking care of ourselves, oftentimes it's hard to make that happen, right? We're stressed out, or so exhausted, or grumpy, or burdened, or whatever the things. It's just very easy to do when the many, many stresses, particularly of being a family man and a father, are at our plate.
Yeah, let me jump here and ask you, because I can hear the pushback. Like, I can just hear the
Mhm.
pushback. Um, because this is something that I've had to work on in my life. Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
you were talking, and yeah, it's the first thing that goes down is the health, right? I stopped working out. I
Yep.
stopped eating as well. I stopped spending time doing things I love, right? It's the first thing that goes out the you start worrying about your family and being there for and you're trying to be present for your kids, right? And all that good stuff. And you're trying to connect with,
Mhm.
and all the me stuff goes, right? And so I know one of the things that was really hard as I started my own journey on trying to make sure I put in, right? My wife finally convinced me this last weekend. I went over to my brother-in-law's house. And I was very quickly corrected that I hadn't been there over to that side of the mountains. I live in Washington, and my wife's family lives on the west side of the mountains, and we live on the east side of the mountains. And in Washington State, that line might as well be like the equator. Like
Yeah.
ghosties rarely come over here, and vice versa. Um, even though the mileage is really relative, but it's like this giant. We might as well be in separate countries.
Yeah.
And my mother-in-law was quick to point out I haven't been over since like 2021 to that side of the mountains, at least to visit them. Like I've had a good run
Mhm.
stuff, but but I was sitting there. We put the kids down. All the kids were settled. He's got two younger kids, and my daughters were down. And we were sitting on the back porch, smoking cigars and just talking. Right? It was him and his girlfriend, and me and my wife, and we were just sitting there, enjoying the evening, enjoying a cigar, and just conversating. There was no demands. There was no need. And that moment was so restorative, right? That evening there was
Mhm.
so I could feel after my normal long, I work 7 days a week. Uh, you know how it is when you have your own business, you're constantly going.
Yeah.
But I know so many men, and one of the hard things for me early on was trying not to feel guilty, right? About stopping and being like, no, I need to go get on my motorcycle for an hour or two and just be
Yeah.
gone, right? So for the men listening, because I know so many dads who struggle with this, how do you advise guys to deal with that? Because I know so many men who feel so guilty if they do anything for them.
Yeah. I think it ties into that happiness thing. In there's a way we can kind of hack that in terms of actually it's a gift to my children for them to spend time around me when I'm happy and restored. Because what kid doesn't want to see their dad happy, right? So sometimes to be happy, I need to do these things. And the other thing I'd say is, and I've had to make some changes around this. Was It's a bit of a mindset shift, but I think a lot of us dads confuse quantity of time with quality of time with our kids. And what I have discovered, um, and now seen in men I work with, is when we start to tease those apart, quality actually ends up being much more impactful than quantity. And what I mean by that is if, like I said, if I'm showing up to family time or managing my kids, or even honestly just my relationship with my wife, but I'm stressed out about work, or I'm exhausted, or I haven't taken enough time for myself, and there's that kind of like, I'm kind of here, but some of my attention is also here. I don't, I'm, you know, I, I've done it. I'm sure every dad has. I'm kind of like fake playing with my kids. I know how to make it seem like I'm playing. I might be on the couch and giving them directions, but I'm not actually joining my child in her world or his world, which is a very different energy of like, I'm actually joining you in your world. I'm not just directing you from here while you're in it. That they can feel that, or if I'm constantly checking my phone, or just super exhausted. In the switch I've made is actually getting clear that quality time is more important than quantity time. And so like in our house, we made the shift when my son was born of my wife and I each prioritize now. It's going to sound tiny, but we each take 15 minutes with our daughter to give her what we call special time, where it is 100% attention and we do whatever she wants to do. There's no checking phones, there's no distractions. It is, you get me for 15 minutes, 100% attention. And it is amazing as like like a preventative medicine. What she gets the time with my wife usually in the mornings because I'm working, and then I take them in the afternoons and I give her that time. When we're doing that regularly, she's happier, she's more fulfilled, she has less outbursts or tantrums, and it gives us a channel to, when sometimes life is busy and it's like, hey, we got to get to this thing, we got to do this thing, but you're going to get special time. And she trusts it. She knows it's going to come. And that shift to that kind of quality has been really important for me to realize. and has helped me create the space then to sometimes, okay, I need to go be with my men's group tonight, or I'm going to go away and go on this hike today. Because then when I know I come back, there's going to be more of me there with you in the moments we do have together. And instead of feeling like, oh my God, I have to be with them 24/7 now, there's this realization that, no, I don't have to be with them forever. But when I am with them, I need to really be with them, to really be present. And for me, it's turned out to be easier when I have these kind of scheduled me time breaks or us time breaks for my wife and I, um, to take some of that burden off and know that, okay, I don't have to pretend like, because I used to guilt myself when I was kind of playing from afar with my kids. It's like, oh, I'm just so exhausted. I just don't have it to get down on the floor and whatever. Like I should be doing more. I should be doing more. But now that I have a space where, yeah, I know at least 15 minutes a day, I'm fully showing up for my kid in like real dad presence. And sometimes it's more than that, depending on our schedules and whatnot. But it's really changed a lot for me. And it's helped me unwind some of that guilt in a pretty profound way and allow me to take better care of myself. And then it also gets better for me because then I have more fun with my kids when I'm with them because I'm like, oh, this isn't going to be 5 hours of playing, bluey figures. Like I can do this for 15 minutes and I can get really into it for 15 minutes, right? Like really animated and really playful and really give myself over. And it's like it charges her battery up, my daughter's battery up in that time. And, and then I feel okay taking that time off or supporting my wife and taking her time off because we just both know at this point we feel different when we've had it, and it feels good to our kids and it feels good for us to each other.
I think one of the things I share with other dads and men is there's a profound impact to actually put something like that on your schedule. I have one evening a week on usually Monday afternoons from 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock. There's nothing else on my calendar. It's me.
Yeah,
Like my wife doesn't even get to play. It's me and my daughters from 4 o'clock till 8:30. There's nothing else. There's no
beautiful.
social media. But the fact that my daughters can confidently, because I have one of those Amazon picture framey things that has my calendar and stuff in my office, they can come in and see it's blocked on my calendar. Literally nothing
Yeah,
to be booked in that time frame. It's blocked. It's theirs. They know this is no questions asked. We're going to find something to do. And we may cut up and watch a movie, or we may go get ice cream, or combination of all kinds of things, but it's theirs. It's protected. Nobody gets it.
yeah,
People try and be like, "Oh, can we?" And it's like, nope, sorry. Like it's
yeah.
much as anything on my work schedule. And there's something about that gift to your kids of them going, "No, I know this time is mine."
Yep,
Right?
totally.
They can own that. That gives them a sense of security in a chaotic world, I think. So is your 15 minutes like once a day, 15 minutes for both of
Yeah,
you?
we do. My wife and I each do 15 minutes a day, and then we alternate once a week.
Mm-hmm.
We do a deeper expedition. So, like, actually, it's my weekend coming up. So, I'll take my daughter for 3 hours where we leave the house and we call it a Lovapalooza, where she just gets 100% of daddy and we get to go on some kind of cool adventure or hike or movie or trampolining or whatever. And then the next week, it'll be my wife. And so it actually works out. As my son gets older, then it'll just be, he'll be with the other alternate parent while
Right.
one's with the other one. And same thing, that allows us to do these kind of deeper dive one-on-ones that are one of the great tips I actually got from other men around once a new kid comes into the family system. It's one of the ways you can really help them still feel loved and integrated. That new kid is, yeah, I know you get this precious time with me. And you're going to get time with mommy. Next weekend, you get time with me. And then every day, you're getting these kind of micro bursts. And yeah, I think what it does in that way that you're talking about, when I imagine being my daughter, but and honestly, the same thing works with my wife in terms of us putting things on the schedule to be with each other, is it communicates to our children or our wives, our partners, that you're a priority, right? Our connection, our time together is a priority in my life, right? So it's on the calendar for this reason, so you can feel it. And I think that means something to them, whereas my parents loved me, but they were working all day, every day. And we didn't have that. And so part of my nervous system just internalized, like, okay, I'm not a priority in that sense. And I think that's the case for a lot of kids. But this is one of the great gifts of learning to increase self care, like I talked about, which spending time with other men is one of the most profound ways to do that, to get restored ourselves as fathers. As is, another thing I'll just name about that is a great thing a lot of men have taught me is one of the other great gifts I can give my daughter and my new son is arranging experiences for them where they get to spend time with other really high quality men that aren't just me, because that does something as well. And that's something that I think has really atrophied considerably in our culture, right? Whether it's a young boy or a young woman, but the, getting to experience healthy masculine energy in men outside of just dad is transformative. It's something I didn't have enough of as I was young, and why I'm like so addicted to it now as an adult in all these men's groups. It's just like, wow, it feels so good to be around really high quality men and fathers and whatnot. So these groups that I'm a part of, that's where I meet these guys who then I want to involve in my children's lives. It doesn't mean they're, hanging out with them all the time, but we can go places and they can lead us through experiences in the wilderness or outside. And my daughter gets to spend time with, other great men, which I'm not a perfect father, right? There's a lot I'm good at. There's a lot I try to be, but there's a lot of stuff that's just not in my wheelhouse, right? That I'm weak at. That turns out other people can start to fill the gaps in. And so part of the responsibility I feel is to keep exposing my children to other really high quality men. And that's much easier than when, lo and behold, I'm spending time with other high quality men, because then it's a very easy connection to make.
We got to pause here for the ever important. We need a dad joke. You got a dad joke for us?
I'm a sucker for the puns. So
Yeah.
I mean, just these things get me, as terrible as they are. Um, so, what does a baby computer call his father?
What?
Dada. Yeah.
What do you have that sound effect programmed into my soundboard so I can just hit that?
Yeah.
Just
Those are the ones that are
rolls.
so great. That the trouble I have with puns right now is I'm a pun guy, but my daughter's vocabulary just isn't big enough. So
Uh,
sometimes, puns only work when you get the kind of double reference of the word or the sound. So a lot of my jokes, unfortunately, go on deaf ears right now, but it's getting better.
yeah, my wife and I are both pretty quick to the puns, and sometimes our daughters are getting old. They get some of them, but every now and then one goes by and I can just see the blank stare. I was like,
Yeah, they're just like, what?
yeah, that one didn't
I'm like,
land.
oh, well, it's actually this. Yeah.
Right? There's just something universal about dad jokes. My daughter told me I wasn't actually that funny, so she got me a book when I started doing this, so I would have some.
Oh, that's great.
Hey, your jokes kind of suck, Dad. Here you go. Here's a book of dad jokes. I was like, 13-year-olds. Okay, right. Now you mentioned the value of that extended community, right? Because we were talking about the importance of taking care of yourself and spending time with more other men as well as a way of recharging. I know you lead several men's groups, but you were talking about the value of having those other masculine men also around your children. And I think that's something that
Yeah.
most men don't think about. We used to get that through family relationships if you live close enough, like some
Yep.
over my brother-in-laws, and having, my wife's dad and my brother-in-law, my other brother-in-law, and my other I have a lot of brother-in-laws over there. My wife is one of four. Um, but having those men around my daughters, I always feel like that's such a great thing when I can have them around them and some other men in my life. But I don't think it's something that a lot of us actively think about because it's something we used to get through just familial relationships.
Yep.
But how do you see that impacting both you and your children?
Yeah, for me, honestly, there's a relaxation in knowing, okay, I and my family are embedded in a community. So, not to be too doom and gloom, but if anything ever happened to me, I can feel there's support around us and there's connection between my children and other men in particular in what I'm emphasizing here. And that it's just also cool because they get to learn things that I don't know how to teach necessarily, right? That I might know a little about this or that, but some of my friends are like, they know about this stuff. So to see them kind of transmitting something, a passion or a hobby or a skill or something is super cool. And just to also feel the different types of energy, right? I have a certain energy I bring as a dad, and some of my friends bring very different energy, more jokester, whatever that might be. And it's cool to see that impact my kids. Um, and then I think there's a piece that right now is mostly conjecture for me because my children are young, like I said, 5 and 7 months. But from other guys I've talked to, it also starts to lay the groundwork for something I think is pretty important in adolescence and teenage years for our kids is what happens when the issue they're having is with us, right? So there's something maybe they want to bring to us or talk to us about that feels awkward or vulnerable, and they don't know how to do it yet. Having other men, I mean, other humans, but men in particular in this case, that they can ask for support or counsel or advice around that's not us, I think is really valuable. Of hey, this thing is happening, with my dad. How do I talk to him about the fact that I want to go to this thing, and I know he wants me to go to this thing, and my sense is building the scaffolding for that so they have trusted supports outside of me is going to be really valuable, because in case there's ever something they need to process with me but it feels like too much of a leap to bring it there initially, um, is one of the things I'm like excited about. So it's not so much like offloading parenting, but knowing that they have other wise voices they can go to. Right? I think this is where extended family used to be particularly can be really powerful, right? Uncles and aunts and people you feel close to that know you and your family, but also aren't in the day to day of it. So don't get triggered by the same things. I think grandparents are good for this too. Like the love gets to flow from a slightly different place because they're not the ones that are having to get you out the door at 9 a.m. and do that battle every day in a sense. Um, so yeah, I just see it really. Um, it's something I know I wanted more of, and the few occasions I did have that as a kid were deeply impactful. Right, to feel someone else's presence that just cared about me and was a safe space that I could bring questions to or talk to or learn things from. So again, I'm just like super passionate about, okay, how do I keep creating these opportunities for my family, for my kids to do that? And yeah, so it both relaxes me and I see it as a gift for them because they get to receive even more wisdom in other forms.
Gentlemen, if your relationships are not where you want them to be, I want you to know I got you. Relationships take a lot of work and can fall on the back burner pretty easily as your empire building in your life. Men often suffer from damage to their relationships while they're trying to provide because they're so busy trying to provide, just kind of everything gets left on the back burner. So reach out and schedule your free discovery call at purposedrivenmen.com to learn the skills you need to connect deeply with the people who matter most in your life. Now, I know a lot of dads are really going to struggle with the idea of trying to break off some time, right? To go spend time with other men. Like I said, the first thing as men we sacrifice is us, right? It's the health, it's the support, it's the relationships outside of that familial bond. Um, I know a lot of guys are going to struggle with the idea of taking a half a day or a day entirely or something like that. Um, but let's talk about the value of just the self care when it comes to taking maybe an hour every day or 4 or 5 days a week to go work out, right? Because that is the first.
Yeah,
It's the nutrition of the workout. How does that 1 hour well spent, and guys, you don't have to be a gym rat. I'm the kind of guy who likes to work out for 2.5 hours straight. You don't have to do that at 45. I don't do that as often as I used to. Uh, you can get a great workout in 30 to 45 minutes.
yeah,
How does that
totally.
value back into your family for the guys that are listening?
Yeah. For me, I'll give a particular cut that's twofold here of, we just had my son last year, and I turned 44 when he was born, so a little older as a father. And I want to be alive for as long as I can to enjoy him and support him in his life. And I have a dream that is attainable, but, means like it starts now, as I'll be 45 this year, of being a grandfather. And if my kids wait as long as I did, I'm going to be up there. I am going to be up there. There are plenty of people I've met in my life. Some parts are within our control, some are not. But for me, health at this point is me taking responsibility for that of, I want to start investing in my body now so that I can be an energetic, mobile father and grandfather as long as I can be. And yeah, with a young boy, I'm like, I can feel I need to have energy in my body to tussle with this kid. He loves physicality and play, right? Even more than my daughter did. And so for me, I want to have a body that doesn't prevent me from engaging with him in the ways he wants and needs. So I consider it an investment in that sense. And so personally for me, my father's alive. He's turning 80. He did not care for his body. And he's in a home now and not very mobile. And it's a lot on me and my siblings to be managing his care. And we can't do it at home. And it's like stressful, right? It's a stressful thing. So I also consider it of, okay, I want to be as healthy as I can be, as long as I can be, so my children don't have to worry about that to some extent, right? That, oh yeah, I can still walk myself. I can still do some basic stuff. So I think these things are super important. And again, the other thing it does is our kids are always learning from us. They learn their priorities from our priorities. So very simple. So if I'm not prioritizing my well-being, health, and community and friendships, it's very easy for our children to internalize that, right? And we often see this. But if I am prioritizing my health, it rubs off on my kids, right? And then actually gives us other opportunities to connect where they can come along and we can go for a run. My daughter and I just started running around a track, and super fun for her. And I'm like, I could see this being a thing for us. It's like, it keeps me fit and it's a way for us to bond. And same thing, particularly as kids get older, it doesn't have to always explicitly be, I'm going away with my men, but what does it mean to bring my son or daughter with us camping? And they actually get to come along and be in that field of kind of adulthood in a sense, and learn some things about what it means. So I think that's a really big one that is one of the easiest for us guys to drop, particularly if you don't. I work from home, so I have a lot more flexibility than most men. But I know guys, they're leaving for work 7 a.m. They're not getting back to like 7 p.m. It's like, where do you even fit in fitness? So I get it. I get what a challenge it is, but it does not handle itself. And, you and I are similar age, and this is the age where there's not unlimited funds on that credit card anymore. Like, you can just kind of push yourself so hard as a man, but it's around our mid 40s that things really start to catch up with us. And it's not a guarantee or automatic anymore. Like, we don't just have health. It's, this is like a tender flame I have to cultivate now and actually put time and energy into. And if I do, right, I've been shocked. I've met guys in their 80s. I mean, I kid you not, men in their 80s who are fitter and more mobile than I am. And they just never stopped moving and taking care of their health. So when I meet men like that, I'm like, oh my God, that's what I want to be when I grow up. Okay, how do I do this? How do I do this? How do I do this? Because I want to be able to enjoy both my own life and the lives of my kids and hopefully their kids to my full capacity. And without a healthy body, that's going to be hard. And so it's taken some, buy-in from my wife. But yeah, some days I can only carve out 15 minutes, but I was like, okay, I got to learn some exercises and stuff that even if I just have 15 minutes in this newborn phase, I'm keeping my body moving in the right direction. And as time opens up, I can do longer things, more like an hour. But I've had no excuse and I've stuck with it and I feel better than ever. And I've had more resource to be present, for my kids in that way. So yeah, I'm super passionate about that one. And again, other men can help hold us accountable for that as well, right? So I'm in a chat group with the guy I was talking about here. If we just message each other when we're going to work out or how our workout went, and it's wild how much fun accountability and how much momentum it generates when it's like, oh my god, so and so just worked out and they just got a personal best or did this new thing, and then I feel inspired to keep mine going. It's one of the great hacks, I think, of this kind of community.
I'll share. Have you seen? Have you done man makers before?
No.
I'll share that one with you off camera. You want 15 minutes of a workout?
Cool.
We'll do it.
Sweet.
No,
That's great.
I am trying to, because that's first thing I always let go, right? So I'm trying to be more cognizant of that at 45, working from home, making sure I'm getting back into exercising to make sure I am exercising, because I used to be a deep gym bro. Like I was in the gym 6 days a week or more,
Yeah.
2.5 hours at a time, and then life got crazy and I started running my own thing and doing my own thing. And it's like, oh, look, now I work 17-hour days and barely ever leave my house. Right. So yeah,
Yeah.
those, and guys, it's so valuable. And here's the question, right? All men will say, I'll die for my kids. I've never met a man who won't say that.
Yeah.
Will you live for them enough to walk your daughter down the aisle without a help? Will you
So
live
good.
for them enough to be able to get on the ground with your grandchildren and play with them and laugh and have fun with them on the
Yeah.
ground? Right? Do you love them that much? Dying's easy. Do you love them enough to take enough care of yourself to be able to do that? Right. And that's something I'm constantly asking myself. That's not a shame on anybody else. That's one of those things I play in my head over and over again. It's like, oh, I don't have time to work out. Yeah, someday I'm going to have grandkids. I want to walk both my
Yep.
daughters down the aisle, and I beat the crap out of my body. So at 45, I got a lot of pain already. So I was like, man, I got to do everything I can now. Right.
That's so wise.
What,
Love frame.
um, what's the best thing about being a dad?
Um, the day to day of looking into my kids' eyes, and there's more looking back at me. There's more soul, human, them there, like their personality, whatever that ineffable thing is. It blows me away. I do work from home. I do have to travel a little bit, and it's wild how, particularly in the early couple of years, but even with my daughter now, um, 5 days away, I come back and it's like, oh yeah, you're different. Something is different. You can do something, you're relating something, there's a new language structure, your body's moving in a different way, sometimes in these very short periods of time. So for me, getting to witness their unfolding firsthand is just like, there's literally nothing better, like nothing more gratifying than getting to discover this human being who I like to think I have a lot of influence on, but they're also just their own person who has their own way of being and karma in the world and whatnot. And just getting to know them more and more every day, right? When your kid says something and you're like, where did that come from? That's incredible. Just blows me away. So I love the richness of seeing them grow and unfold.
And as we were talking about at the beginning of the conversation, all happened so quickly.
Yeah.
I missed
It
my
does.
second daughter learning to walk. I was on a business trip. I was
Yeah.
down on the other side of the company, supervising a new project for the company I worked for. And I was Zoom calling with my wife every night. And
Yeah.
I was sitting there talking to my wife, my oldest daughter, and all of a sudden this streak goes by the camera. I'm like, wait, what was that? I was like, oh, that was Henley. I was like, she wasn't even walking when I left, and now she just ran by the camera. They got like 2 weeks.
Uh-huh.
And but like that night I got off the Zoom call and it just tore at me. The fact that
Mm-hmm.
I had
Mm-hmm.
missed this moment, and it was that realization of, oh my goodness, this happened so quick. It's a flash. We think about 1 to 18 or 0 to 18, right? As
Yeah.
And like we said, there's so much that happens in those years, but there's also the years after that. but there is so much that happens in those first 18 years as our focus most of the time, and it goes by so quick.
Sure does.
That's it's fun to watch them become them. At 10
That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
almost 11, got to make that right in case she hears this, almost 11-year-old and the 13-year-old, watching them diverge into their own personalities and their own likes and interests, and it's so much fun at this time. I don't want to miss anything with them. Jason,
Yeah, it's one of the joys.
let me ask you, what if the audience didn't catch the rest of this, right? They're just only half listening to this, because 80% of podcast listeners are listening like in the car or on the treadmill.
Yeah.
Right? It's something you listen to podcasts while you're doing things. So here at this moment, if they tuned out for parts of this, what do you want to hear the men listening? That was good English. What do you want the men listening to hear? If they cut nothing else out of this whole conversation, what do you want those men to hear right now?
Taking care of yourself is taking care of your family. Right? I mean, it's the platitude, put the oxygen mask on yourself first. There's a reason for that. And the state of our nervous system, how we feel in our bodies, is one of the greatest gifts we can give to our kids, because it teaches them a pathway and a model for how we want them to feel in their bodies. Good, connected, energized, present, not just tired, burdened, stressed, overwhelmed, whatever these different things oftentimes happen for us guys. But that, hey, yeah, daddy has relationships with friends because they're valuable to me outside of the family. I want you to have valuable relationships too. These things matter, I think, as we're growing up. So yeah, taking care of yourself is you taking care of your family.
Gentlemen, thanks for joining us today on the Dad Hat Shenanigans podcast. For Jason and myself, we appreciate you joining for the conversation. Dad Hat Shenanigans podcast is a community of dads just navigating life's challenges together. There's so much value in understanding that you're not doing this dad thing alone. I started the show because I've talked to men on 4 different continents. Doesn't matter where they're from or what their background is. Dads can come together on being dads, and we need to. That's so important for your journey as a father. You're not alone. There are men who will connect with you, who will relate to you and bond with you just over the fact that you're a parent. So be sure and plug in. Until next time, laugh, learn, and live the dad life.